खबर दें आपको, सीज फायर में तोसी नहीं होगी। अमरीकी सदर का यह बयान है। आपने हुर्मुज की नाकाबंदी बड़ी कामयाबी है। अमरीकी सदर की जानिब से ये कहा गया है, हमारे पास इस मामले पर मजीद वक्त नहीं है। अमरीका जरूरत पड़ने पर फौजी कार्रवाई करने के लिए भी तैयार है।
If you needed to prevent that from happening, let's say Chair Warstock, for whatever reason, there's some type of energy shock, who knows, with the blockade. Let's say that things got too hot. At that point, just to make sure there was no inflation, would you allow him to raise rates or not cut rates? Would there ever be a period where you could see that that was something that a Fed chair needed to do? And if you said he might have an office right near yours, he might not want an office right next to yours, sir. I don't know. After what happened to Jay Powell, you might want to be across in those new digs, maybe.
Maybe I'd like him next to me. Actually, it's not a bad idea. Maybe Jay Powell did us a big service, and we had to. I call him too late. He's just too late. He's always too late, except when it came to before the election, but that didn't quite work out well for him. So the answer is, I want Kevin. I think Kevin's great. He's central casting in a true sense. Okay, I think he's going to do a great job. Yeah, if there's time for, I've been in favor of interest rate rises to stop inflation. I think it sort of is effective. But there's one thing, and nobody ever talks about it but me, unfortunately. So I'm sure it's not correct, but I think it is. We should have the lowest interest rate in the world. When I was a young guy growing up, we always had the lowest interest rate worldwide. We always did. And then 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it started where Switzerland and other people had lower rates than us. And I just had a thing with, if you take a look at some of the, let's call them like elite countries. They're only elite because we allow them to walk away with $30 billion and $40 billion a year, but I don't do that so much anymore. I sort of put a clamp on that with the tariffs and charges that we charge them, because they were elite because they're making billions and billions of dollars from the United States, larger, and other reasons. And they run a good operation, but it's easier to run it good when you make that much money, where we have these massive deficits with, you take a look at some of the countries, but Switzerland is one. They talk, oh yes, we are a small and brilliant. Well, they're brilliant because they pay us almost nothing. Now they pay a little bit. They should pay much more. We'll get that up a little bit. But if you take a look at Denmark, you take a look at all these countries, you think of them so. And what happened with me is I charged some of them, and they squawked like you wouldn't believe it. They called, and we are a small country. All of a sudden, I realized they're not elite. We're elite. We're being sucked dry. And we can't do that. And you'll see that. We had a little setback with the Supreme Court. They said I can charge tariffs, but I have to do it a different way. And because of what they did, we have to pay back $160 billion. All they had to do is add one sentence, just one sentence. And that's, you don't have to pay anything taken in thus far back. But because they didn't add, and by the way, it was a close call, too. There were justices that were powerful that I was right on the tariffs. But because we lost by just 2 votes, just little vote, 2 votes, we have to pay back $165 billion. They could have, with a little one sentence, you don't have to pay back tariffs that have already been received. You start from this point, and you do it a different way. So we're doing it a different way. We're going to end up with the same. Actually, we'll end up with bigger numbers, actually, but it's a little more unwieldy, but it's the way it's been done. But it's so sad
Mr. President,
that the Supreme Court didn't want to save our country with one sentence, $165 billion. And we're giving a lot of that money back to people that hate our country. So I'm not happy with the Supreme Court, I'll be honest with you, okay?
Mr. President, on that topic, there's a whole number of very large companies, including Apple and Amazon and others, that have not sought reimbursements yet for the tariffs, meaning they haven't tried to collect refunds. And from what I understand, part of the reason that they have waited is because there is a worry about, frankly, offending you. Would you find it offensive for them to try to collect a refund?
I think it's brilliant if they don't do that. I actually think if they don't do that, they got to know me very well. I'm very honored by what you just said. If they don't do that, I'll remember them. I will tell you that, because I'm looking to make this country strong. Supreme Court could have helped us. Now they have birthright citizenship. They'll probably rule against us. No country in the world has it. It's horrible for our country. And I just see it, I see some of these Republicans that are nominated by me asking real bad questions, and looks like maybe we're going to lose that one too. Look what happened with NIL. They destroyed college sports, the court system, destroyed. So hard to put that one back, Humpty Dumpty, so hard to put that one back together. We had 150 years of rulings and everything else, and they had such a great system. It was a scholarship system. You get free college if you're a good athlete. You get this, you get that. And it took care of every sport. Fencing, not only football. Now it's all football, and the football is bringing down colleges because they're losing. Did you see Penn State lost $500 million last year?
Yeah.
Florida State lost $450 million last year. They can't lose that kind of money. They don't make that kind of money. And the court system, a person that never had anything to do with sports, a very liberal-leaning Democrat, liberal, she decided that the sports system that was in place for 150 years is no good. She never went to a game before. It's no good. And she said it's unconstitutional. And unfortunately, NCAA didn't even appeal it. I've won a lot of cases on appeal, to be honest with you. We got some really bad judges, but I've won a lot of cases on appeal. Some great people. We have, fortunately, some great people in the appellate courts. And I've won cases. They didn't appeal it. And
Mr.
because of that, college sports is a disaster right now. You have many people staying in college because they're going to make more money than they would if they went into baseball, Major League Baseball, or the NFL. They can make more money, a 7-year freshman. We have a 7-year freshman. It's crazy what they've done. And this is a person that never went to a game, acknowledged, not familiar with sports, but she overruled everything. She said, it's all unconstitutional, start all over again. And thank goodness we have people like Randy Levine and others that Coach Saban, who's so great. We have a lot of people got together, but it's very hard to put that one together. I will tell you right now, it's a tough one, but they're going to do the best. But if the courts had common sense, they would have done something that could have been very easy to do and made everybody happy. If they had common sense, we would not be paying back almost $200 billion in tariffs so stupidly. In many cases, the enemy is getting this money. The people that have hated the United States, we're giving them checks for billions of dollars. It's so sad to see. And it would be nice if the court system and the Supreme Court could have done things a little bit differently. Very sad. Actually, it's very sad. It's called no common sense. And look at the rulings we're getting on illegal immigrants. I mean, they're coming in murderers and everything else. We have a many-time murderer. It's really hard to get him out of our country. But we don't stop.
Mr. President, just in terms of putting things together, there's a story earlier this week about United potentially wanting to buy American. Senators from both sides of the aisle have warned that that is a step too far. You should not be putting these two large airlines together. Have you thought about that proposition?
I just heard it 2 days ago, and I know them both very well. I don't like it. No, I don't mind mergers. I think I'd love somebody to buy Spirit, as an example. Spirit's in trouble. And I'd love somebody to buy Spirit. It's 14,000 jobs. And maybe the federal government should help that one out. I told my people. But with American, it's doing fine. And United's doing very well. I know the United people, they're doing very well. I don't like having them merge. It's just like all of these aerospace defense companies and aerospace companies. We used to have hundreds of them, and now we have like a very small number. And you get one bid, and it makes them lazy. I came down very hard on them 2-3 months ago because it takes too long. We have the best equipment in the world. We have the best, the Patriot systems, the Tomahawk systems. We have the best stuff in the world by far. The other day during this crazy war, we had 111. There's a dispute as to 111 and 101. I want to be exactly accurate with you people because otherwise you'll write stories that I exaggerated. We had 101 or 111. Nobody's able to get it right, but the result was the same. Missile shot at one of our great assets out in that area, a ship. And out of the 111 missile shot, every single one of them was shot down, going at 3,000 miles an hour, right? Not easy. It's like a needle in a haystack. They used to call it impossible to do. So they go to 3,000 miles an hour. Every single one of them was shot down, mostly by Patriots, but every one of them was shot down. Think of it, 111 missiles coming at you, and every one of those missiles is now lying at the bottom of the sea, like the Navy, like the Iran's Navy is lying at the bottom of the sea. It's amazing, but we got to make it faster. So I have a push. You know, Raytheon took billions of dollars, billions, I don't even want to tell you how many because I'm embarrassed, for stock buybacks instead of buying plants. So I made it illegal for them to do that. No defense company. They have to build new plants. So we have plants. Raytheon now is building 5. They're all building, Lockheed's building 3 or 4. They're all building plants because we need speed. We don't want, you know, you order a Patriot and they say, we'll have it to you, sir, in 3.5 years. We want it in a week. And that's where we are now. They're building plants all over the country. And they're going to do well for doing it.
We appreciate all your time. If you have time, I want to ask you one more question.
Go ahead.
And, you know, we have allies now in the Middle East. Maybe some are, we can maybe count on more than allies in other parts of the world.
That's
but
true. They're much better allies than NATO,
yeah.
that I can tell you.
The UAE asking the U.S. for some type of financial lifeline. I don't know if it's a solvency problem. It's more of a liquidity problem. And I know we did,